If you spare a little of your imagination as you watch this film as it runs, you will see many things that answer many questions.
The key to progress in life and to the fulfillment of dreams lies in ready obedience to its voice. Unhesitating obedience to its voice is an immediate assumption of the wish fulfilled. To desire a state is to have it.
Our mental life is in constant need of nutritional education. What we take into the mind is a phase of our nutritional problem. If we take in the wrong thoughts, we're going to be just as bad off mentally and physically as we would be if we eat food that is improper to our needs. The individual can be allergic to attitudes, and everyone more or less is allergic to negative thinking. Now, this doesn't mean he won't live through it. He may have negative thoughts all his life and past the century mark, but he will simply have extended the period of disappointments, disillusionments, and disasters for himself.
Everything is a state. You can be any man, any woman that you want to be, when you understand the mystery of states. A state is an attitude of mind, a state of experience with a body of beliefs which you live by. Always expressing a state, you identify yourself with it by saying, I am poor, or I am rich. I am known, or I am unknown. I am wanted, or I am unwanted. I could go on indefinitely, because there are infinite states into which an individual son of the Most High may fall. The New Testament begins. The time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Repent and believe the gospel. The word repent means a radical change of attitude. Your attitude need not be towards another, but an attitude regarding self. If you feel you have nothing to live for, you must repent by changing your attitude radically from that state. Knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all you desire in life. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. This reality may, for the sake of clarity, be likened unto a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious.
The first dimension is pretty simple. A dot, a point, a singular state of being that holds no relativity. Nothing exists in relation to the first dimension. As soon as you start relating points to one another, we have entered into the second dimension. The second dimension, in a sense, is the dimension we have full understanding of. We encounter it everywhere we go. We often express ourselves in the second dimension through art or geometry. The second dimension is the shadow of everything in the third dimension. It holds relativity between the points in the first dimension and is easiest to symbolize as a line, length, and width. The third dimension is where our senses reside. We live in the 3D. We encounter depth, height. The second dimension is like living on paper. You would have no concept of anything above the page. If you were in a page in a book, the pages beneath and above you would seemingly be non-existent. This is important to consider when we start assuming the higher dimensions.
The world, and all within it, is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause, as well as the substance of the entire world. So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation. There are two actual outlooks on the world possessed by everyone, a natural focus and a spiritual focus. The ancient teachers called the one the carnal mind, the other the mind of Christ. We may differentiate them as ordinary waking consciousness, governed by our senses, and a controlled imagination, governed by desire. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. Romans 1:20. Don't condemn yourself for the state into which you have fallen. If you don't like it, move into another. Don't feel sorry for yourself, for if you do, you will make the state a habit and remain there for the rest of your days on earth. You don't have to remain in a state if you have made a mistake. You can change states in the morning, noon and night, but the state to which you most constantly return constitutes your dwelling place. It is from there you are going to live and perpetuate until you move in thought.
The fourth dimension goes beyond our senses and our natural mind of reasoning and logic. It is not present, for the new depth presented in the fourth dimension is time. The third dimension is always bounded by a linear understanding of time. The third dimension is always present and holds no future or past, but the fourth dimension does. It would be a non-linear interpretation of time, where past and future don't exist outside of present. Interestingly enough, we too have this ability, but it is outside of the natural mind. It can be perceived with our creative mind, our imagination. Where looking inwards to our thoughts, we can envision scenes of the past or dreams of the future. Remember that the 2D is a shadow, a cross-section of the third dimension, much as the first dimension is a cross-section of the second. This then can be rationalized that the 3D too is a cross-section or shadow of the 4D. So, if we can direct our thoughts throughout time and realize them in the lower dimensions, why would you ever direct your thoughts toward negativity, as you would be subjected to them in your 3D experience?
Therefore, with nutrition, a very factual thing, the individual has a mental life that needs to be disciplined and needs to be subject to the laws of mental nutrition. He breaks these laws every day in front of his television, or he breaks them every day in the various activities which he considers essential. He takes in a constant stream of bad food. He takes in food that is not only indigestible, but in many cases it is hopelessly poisonous. He does the same thing mentally and physically. If he takes in contaminated mental food, he is going to be sick. And most of the mental conditions of our society lead to a problem of contaminated thinking. The individual who has suffered little and is sorry for himself all his life has very little to contribute to human problems. So it's a matter of gradually gaining an integration within yourself. And this integration begins with one basic conviction, that the universe is right. The things that happen because they must happen. And they must happen because the law of cause and effect is immutable. And yet this law never was and never will be a tyrant. The law is not something that is punishing you unjustly or taking away from you things you deserve. The law of cause and effect is reminding you that whatever that you want in life that is worthwhile, you have to deserve.
The being that you really are descended to the weakness of the flesh, causing you to experience the state you are now in. Contemplate another state, and the same being who brought your present form into being will restore and make alive the other state, the state desired. This he will continue to do until his purpose is fulfilled. That purpose is to follow a certain pattern back into the unity of being. All states exist and are a fixed part of creation. Anyone can enter a state consciously or fall into a state inadvertently. You may move into different states throughout your lifetime, or you may occupy a single state. Desire is what usually motivates us to move from one state to a higher level.
But remember that your 3D understanding of the world will only ever be witnessed in linear time. Whatever you believe in your thoughts will play out, but is the reason they don't pop into existence. The habit of seeing only that which our senses permit renders us totally blind to what we otherwise could see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the senses and focus our attention on an invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has all the distinctness of reality. Earnest, concentrated thought, focused in a particular direction, shuts out other sensations and causes them to disappear. We have but to concentrate on the state desired in order to see it. The habit of withdrawing attention from the region of sensation and concentrating it on the invisible develops our spiritual outlook and enables us to penetrate beyond the world of sense and to see that which is invisible. This vision is completely independent of the natural faculties. Open it and quicken it. Without it, these instructions are useless, for the things of the Spirit are spiritually discerned. A little practice will convince us that we can, by controlling our imagination, reshape our future in harmony with our desire.
All changes take place in consciousness. The future, although prepared in every detail in advance, has several outcomes. At every moment of our lives, we have before us the choice of which of several futures we will choose. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. These two aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. The conscious is male. The subconscious is female. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. The subconscious does not originate ideas, but accepts as true those which the conscious mind feels to be true, and, in a way known only to itself, objectifies the accepted ideas. Therefore, through his power to imagine and feel, and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings. The mechanism of creation is hidden in the very depth of the subconscious, the female aspect or womb of creation. The creative process begins with an idea, and its cycle runs its course as a feeling and ends in a volition to act. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. No idea can be impressed on the subconscious until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness.
You have to earn happiness. You have to earn security, not in the terms of a business venture, but in terms of internal acceptance of value. We all come into this world with nothing. We even have a body that for a long time is much help to us. We live a while, 80 years perhaps if we're lucky, and then we leave this world, and we leave it with nothing at all, except what we have developed within our own consciousness. If there's anything that survives, it's the soul and the inner life enriched by good works and by understanding and insight. Other things are useless. If we die of a broken heart because we can't take physical wealth with us, we are really in a very impoverished condition. And if we leave great wealth to our descendants, we are likely to be doing them a great harm. So nature, in its own quiet way, can give us the securities we need. Let's look around ourselves for a while and in other people, try to see the consequences of attitudes. Try to see who among the people we know is perhaps the most happy. If we know one individual or two or three individuals who, out of a good lifetime of years and experience, are still strong in faith, who still are able to rise above the emergencies of living, in later years face the future with peace and calm of spirit. What have these people that we do not have? And we'll generally find out that it is a disposition that is based upon constructive reactions to circumstances. These people are not the ones who never suffered, but these are the persons to whom suffering was a maturing for power, not a rotting one. We will also find that most of the people who are happy in this world are satisfied with little, cherish the things that they do enjoy with great quietude, with patience, with understanding, with gratitude. These people are grateful for small mercies. We are ungrateful with great blessings. Therefore, our lives are not as theirs as the years go on. We can find in this world a great many persons whose conditions are no better than our own, but whose attitudes are remarkably better. And this gives us the realization that ours can be bettered also. We are not born pessimists. We have to train ourselves to be a pessimist. We have to gradually eliminate from our lives everything that is good, and we almost always have to blame someone else for the tragedy, because very few people want to accept the fact that they are wrecking their own lives. So out of a little thoughtfulness comes the possibility of the person gaining a stability in this period of stress, which is a thing we are much concerned with. And we will find ultimately that no change in our outward circumstances will produce this stability. We can move into a smaller house, it may help. We can move into a larger one, which will gratify certain ambitions and bring with it more responsibilities than we can carry. We can do all kinds of physical things, trying to find that peace that the world is seeking. But it will still be elusive, because everything that is physical is transitory, and the only thing that is not transitory in man is his own soul. And this is the thing which he must educate, he must release into manifestation. So if you finally decide to do something about it, begin the cultivation of constructive living and thinking.
Desire is the mainspring of action. We could not move a single finger unless we had a desire to move it. No matter what we do, we follow the desire which at the moment dominates our minds. When we break a habit, our desire to break it is greater than our desire to continue in the habit. The desires which impel us to action are those that hold our attention. A desire is but an awareness of something we lack or need to make our life more enjoyable. Desires always have some personal gain in view. The greater the anticipated gain, the more intense is the desire. There is no absolutely unselfish desire. Where there is nothing to gain, there is no desire, and consequently, no action.
Experience has taught me to restrict the imaginary action, to condense the idea which is to be the object of our meditation into a single act, and to reenact it over and over again until it has the feeling of reality. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. What you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and, unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. To feel I will be is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not.
By assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and then living and acting on this conviction, alters the future in harmony with your assumption. Assumptions awaken what they affirm. As soon as one assumes the feeling of his wish fulfilled, his four-dimensional self finds ways for the attainment of this end, discovers methods for its realization. With its larger outlook, the four-dimensional self then constructs the means necessary to realize the accepted end. The undisciplined mind finds it difficult to assume a state which is denied by the senses. Here's a technique that makes it easy to encounter events before they occur, to call things which are not seen as though they were. People have a habit of slighting the importance of simple things, but this simple formula for changing the future was discovered after years of searching and experimenting. The first step in changing the future of desire is define your objective. Know definitely what you want. Secondly, construct an event which you believe you would encounter following the fulfillment of your desire, an event which implies fulfillment of your desire, something that will have the action of self-predominant. Thirdly, immobilize the physical body and induce a condition akin to sleep. Lie on a bed or relax in a chair and imagine that you are sleepy. Then, with eyelids closed and your attention focused on the action you intend to experience, in imagination, mentally feel yourself right into the proposed action, imagining all the while that you are actually performing the action, here and now. You must always participate in the imaginary action, not merely stand back and look on, but you must feel that you are actually performing the action, so that the imaginary sensation is real to you. It is important always to remember that the proposed action must be one which follows the fulfillment of your desire. And also, you must feel yourself into the action until it has all the vividness and distinctness of reality. A most effective way to embody a desire is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then, in a relaxed and sleepy state, repeat over and over again, like a lullaby, any short phrase which implies fulfillment of our desire, such as, "Thank you," as though we addressed a higher power for having done it for us. If, however, we seek a conscious projection into a dimensionally larger world, then we must keep the action going right up until sleep ensues. Experience in imagination, with all the distinctiveness of reality, what would be experienced in the flesh were you to achieve your goal. And you shall, in time, meet it in the flesh as you met it in your imagination. Feed the mind with premises, that is, assertions presumed to be true, because assumptions, though unreal to the senses, if persisted in until they have the feeling of reality, will harden into facts. To an assumption, all means which promote its realization are good. It influences the behavior of all by inspiring in all the movements, the actions, and the words which tend towards its fulfillment.
Sensation precedes manifestation and is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. Be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Your body is an emotional filter and bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. Emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions, are the causes of all disease. To feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of a disease. Dis-ease, in both body and environment. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure, for frustration or detachment from your objective results in disease. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize, feeling the reality of the state sought, and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. All changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. What you must acquire, then, is a reflective control of the operation of the subconscious. That is, control of your ideas and feelings.
If we can get this thought sort of fixed in our minds, we will not be so given to all the worries and excitements that come along. If we make our life built upon achievement in the same sense of ambition, and this ambition causes us to be untrue or unkind or unreasonable, we may attain the ambition and at the same time have a stroke or a coronary, because nature doesn't want it that way. Nature doesn't want the individual to live for ambition alone. It wants the individual to have a little ambition and a great deal of aspiration. This is much better. Aspiration means to become more. Ambition means to accumulate more. And the more we become, the less dependent we become upon accumulation, until it is no longer a serious emergency with us. Then there are persons who cannot live or cannot believe they are happy unless they are dominating somebody else. Anyone whom we dominate, we must accept the consequences of our own domination of them. We must take upon ourselves the karma that we have imposed upon other people by trying to live their lives for them. And this is especially true if in trying to live their lives, we are simply demanding that they accept our mistakes. Little by little, we have to learn all these principles. They add up to a kindly, thoughtful relationship. A relationship in which we adhere to become more and more aware of the infinite good in which we exist. A good which we are spoiling and despoiling ourselves. A good which we were forbidding to have happen, because of the fact of our personal ambitions and attitudes.
The gateway into the subconscious. Sleep. The life that occupies 1/3 of our stay on earth is the natural door into the subconscious. So it is with sleep that we are now concerned. The conscious 2/3 of our life on earth is measured by the degree of attention we give sleep. Our understanding of and delight in what sleep has to bestow will cause us, night after night, to set out for it as though we were keeping an appointment with a lover. It is in sleep that man enters the subconscious to make his impressions and receive his instructions. In these states, the conscious and subconscious are creatively joined. The male and female become one flesh. Sleep is the time when the male or conscious mind turns from the world of sense to seek its lover or subconscious self. Whatever you have in consciousness as you go to sleep is the measure of your expression in the waking 2/3 of your life on earth. The unconsciousness of sleep is the normal state of the subconscious, because all things come from within yourself, and your conception of yourself determines that which comes. You should always feel the wish fulfilled before you drop off to sleep. You never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel as true of others. To be realized, then, the wish must be resolved into the feeling of being, or having, or witnessing the state sought. This is accomplished by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish realized? is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. You must be in the consciousness of being, or having that which you want to be, or to have before you drop off to sleep. Once asleep, man has no freedom of choice. His entire slumber is dominated by his last waking concept of self. Nations, as well as people, are only what you believe them to be, no matter what the problem is, no matter where it is. Since a state is total and complete in itself, when we enter a state, we are compelled to behave in a manner dictated by that state. For instance, in the state of poverty, we would find ourselves constantly in need of funds. We would have difficulty making ends meet and have no way to enjoy luxuries. Should we be given a large sum of money, if we remain in the state of poverty, filling our mind with thoughts of lack and limitation, we would soon find ourselves without funds, and again experiencing the same difficulties. The reverse would be true if we occupied a state of wealth. When we are in a state, we see only the contents of that state and are compelled to act in accordance with all that the state entails. While in a particular state, you believe certain things are true and would find it difficult to understand another point of view. In the state of poverty, it is easy to focus your thoughts on the problems of providing food, shelter, and clothing. When you succeed in moving out of this state, you no longer find it difficult to acquire these things. Most people attribute this change of fortune to a change in circumstances. However, unless you have moved from the state of poverty, no change in circumstance would be permanent. Rather, moving out of one state and into another in your imagination automatically creates a change in your outer world. The Bible has personified every type of state and calls these states by names known to us as Moses, Noah, Job, Peter, Andrew, and Jesus. Throughout our journey, we enter these states and experience all that they offer. The last state we will enter is the state of Jesus Christ. In this state, we become aware that we are God, the Father, and that we have a Son, symbolized as David, who personifies the sum total of all humanity. The journey begins with Adam, who fell asleep and dreamed the dream of life, and then entered the myriad states to gain the experiences necessary before awakening. When you enter the state of Jesus, you know yourself to be God, and your journey into this world of death is then complete.